Eileo guys, and welcome back. In today's video, we're finally revisiting Arthur. I haven't done the Arthur review since probably like, 2018, maybe 2019, so it's been a couple of years. Obviously he has a couple of changes, and with the Ultimate Evolution here and present, and also with him being one of the contract mons, what better time to do it than now? So let's go ahead and give it a go. Alright, so starting off here, just in case you guys are curious though, there is a bot on the Discord, which shameless plug right here. Discord is in the description below, but I have added the ultimate skill information into the bot, and if you're ever curious about any ultimate evolution going forward from the game, not only for Arthur or Persephone, but any other ultimate mon added into the game, you can come over here to the Astro Guide, and you can see this button over here in the corner. This little crown is the ultimate evolution. You hit that and wham bam, you have the ultimate evolution of whatever astronaut you're trying to look up. Which, by the way, if you guys do like this video by the time we get to the end of it, feel free to like the video, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest and the greatest in MSL and more. And let's go ahead and dive right into Fire Arthur to begin with. So Fire Arthur is also one of the contract mons, and at the time of this video, he is the only contract mon with an ultimate evolution. But Fire Arthur is an attacker type. He's coming in with 30k HP, 4.1k attack, and then 3k defense. So overall, especially as a ultimate evoed nat 5, his stats are pretty good. Ultimate evolution, by the way, applies the same stat increase, which is roughly 10%, or I think it is 10% on the dot, to the Astromon stats. So a 4.1k attack stat is pretty banger, and 3k defense on an attacker type is bonkers, dude. It's absolutely bonkers. There's balanced mons with 3k defense, and his HP pool is fine. It could be a little bit higher, but I mean, we can't make him super duper OP. But let's take a look at his skills real quick. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at his skills here. For his 3-star skill, he has Stun, which grants 100% chance of stunning enemy for 1 turn. And then for his 5-star skill, he has Defense Down, which grants a 70% chance to reduce the enemy's defense for 3 turns. Now, especially as a newer player, what you should do in this point in time is just pause and kind of think about, what is his skill set saying? Stun and Defense Down aren't really damaging moves. Defense Down does make sure that you do more damage to an enemy once the debuff is applied, and I can understand with his 4.1k attack stat is like, why wouldn't I want to build him defensively? Now I'm not saying that I'm not saying that you're wrong in this case, but think about it. Stun doesn't really provide any damage, but it does provide crowd control. Defense Down doesn't really provide damage until after the debuff's applied. So I can build this character in one of 2 ways. That's how I would personally look at it. And then we can also see with his variant skill, he has an HP lead, which could be useful in certain situations, but mainly it's not super duper useful. It's just really dependent, just like any other leader skill. And then with the newly introduced mechanic over here is the ultimate skill, which is Water Edge, which attacks against any water Astromon are treated as an enemy's elemental weakness. So essentially, Water Edge converts Fire Arthur's damage to basically like he's acting like a Woodmon, so he's doing the the regular 1.5 times damage towards the enemy. So it's just like Elemental Edge, but only in terms of water mons, which is obviously Fire Arthur's direct counter, which is very interesting because, I mean, I'm not sure if anyone has tested this out yet, but the way that the skill describes it is that, this move is always active. So stunning and getting defense down on a water Astromon should be pretty good or pretty ideal, because it wouldn't make sense to me if this only procs every time you do his ultimate evolution skill, which only procs, after 2 of his 5-star skills go off. That would just be crazy. But Water Edge is what he has on that move over here, and then we can see with books that his stun gets a 15% damage increase and it goes to 2 turns, which 100% chance for 2 turns is hella good. Defense Down gets a 15% damage increase and it goes up to 90% for 3 turns, which once again, very, very good books. Combined with Water's Edge, he's already starting off the bat, if he was fully booked up in theory, with a 2-turn stun and a very, very high probability of his Defense Down going off. Meaning, not only is he going to hit like a F word, but he's going to be debuffing and crowd controlling like a F word. So, definitely, I mean, Not the cream of the crop, but definitely a good Astromon. It's just that I feel like his stats are a little bit weird with his kit, but as long as you can back up his kit with a whole bunch of raw damage, I think he should be fine. Moving forward though, we do have Water Arthur over here, who's a balance type. He's coming in with 35k HP, 3k attack, and then 3.2k defense. See, this is what I was saying. Fire Arthur is an attacker type, but his attack stat is literally like 1.1k higher than Water Arthur's, and his defense is literally like 300 less. Like, holy crap. I mean, Water Arthur does have more HP, but stat-wise, like, Fire Arthur's like up there, dude. Absolutely up there. But let's go ahead and take a look at his skills real quick. So for his 3-star skill, he has Morale Boost, which grants 100% chance to restore 50% of his own SP when attacking. And then for his 5-star skill, he has Attack Down, which grants a 70% chance to reduce the enemy's attack for 3 turns. Now this is another thought process that you should have going in your mind right now. So with his 3-star skill, we can see that leads to his 5-star skill super duper quick. And 70% chance for 3 turns isn't anything to scoff at. Now, I know in earlier PvP days, this was very, very optimal because you would essentially just nerf the enemy's damage. And nowadays, it isn't that big of a deal, especially with enemies having so much resist on them. But I still think he's a great Astromon, especially if you decide to pair him up with like a Pugilist set, because with him being able to get his attack down off super duper quickly, if you're applying the attack down debuff and also the Pugilist debuff, hopefully one of those, if not both of those, can stick on somebody. And then we can see over here with his ultimate evolution skill, he has stun, which has a 25% chance of proccing for 1 turn. Now, once again, I'm not sure how this is calculated with Pugilist. If you have like a Pugilist gem set on, is it the Pugilist gem set proccing? Is it then the ultimate skill stun proccing when it's his time to do his ultimate skill, which is after 2 of the 5-star skills, and then his attack down applied after that? Or is it kind of combined into one? I'm assuming they're separate, but don't quote me on that. But I think his ultimate evolution isn't super duper like amazing, but I think it's okay, especially if you paired it up with a Pugilist set. That's when things get spicy for him. But non-Pugilist set, I mean, his ultimate skill is basically Pugilist set with a probability of it happening every time he can get his ultimate skill off. Obviously, if he doesn't get his ultimate skill off, it doesn't really work. But combined with Pugilist, I think it could be quite interesting. So let's go and take a look at his books. So with Morale Boost, he gets a 20% damage increase, and Morale Boost goes up to 60% for himself. And then Attack Down receives a 15% damage increase, and that goes up to 90% for 3 turns once again. So spicy. I wouldn't say as effective as Fire Arthur's, but still pretty spicy. But I think Ultimate Evolution combined with a Pugilist set kind of brings Water Arthur to a place where he needs to be if you were to use him. Not saying that Water Astromon in general are mainly used offensively in a PvP situation, so obviously he would be more of a defensive mon, but once again, it's one of those situations where if you have the correct gems, if you've maybe got some books on him, and you just have good luck that he could perform really, really well. But I wouldn't like run out to the bank and try and ultimate Evo him. Like, it's not that serious, because if you get him on a Pugilist set, you don't get the stat increase, you don't get the cool looking anime character action, but you essentially have the quote unquote great value version of ultimate evolved Arthur. So it is what it is. Following in after that though, we do have Wood Arthur, who's an attacker type. He's coming in with 31k HP, 4.3k attack, and then 2.9k defense. Literally like the same stats as Fire Arthur. He just has, I think, more attack, and that's pretty much it. So nothing much to say stat wise other than what I said for Fire Arthur. Let's take a look at his skills though. So for his 3-star skill, he has HP Siphon, which greatly restores his own HP in proportion to the amount of damage dealt, and with a 4.3k attack stat, he's going to be healing himself no problem. Then for his 5-star skill, he has Stun, which grants a 70% chance to stun an enemy for 2 turns. So he has some self-sustain on him, and he also has some crowd control abilities as well. So depending on your team composition, this could work in your favor, because if the other mons are unable to act and are trying to damage Arthur, well, Wood Arthur, let me clarify that, then if he's able to move and he's in there hitting like a butt cheek on a stick, well, he's going to heal from this. And if he keeps healing, it's eventually going to lead to his 5-star skill with his stun, which isn't super duper high, but I think it's okay in this scenario, especially without books. And then if we go over here to his ultimate skill, he gets defense down, which has a 25% chance of proccing, and it lowers the enemy's defense for 2 turns. Now, I personally don't find that super duper amazing, because, I mean, not Pugilist, but Stun from Water Arthur activates with a 25% chance, and this also activates from a 25% chance. But if it was paired up once again, I'm not saying it has to be on a Pugilist set, but if it was paired up once again with either a Pugilist set or maybe like a SP Siphon set or something of that nature, to where he can continuously just pump out that defense down. You can even have a mon with Zeal on him. If it's continuously running with that, then there's a higher probability of that sticking regardless of what you do, because he's already getting stunned from off his 5-star skill, but you also are taking into account the defense down probability, which isn't that very high. And I honestly don't find it that appealing, if that makes any sense, because yes, he's built for damage, but it's not like he has Hunter. It's not like he has, even though Elemental Edge isn't my favorite, it's not like he has the really hard-hitting damaging moves, even though he has the attack stat for it. So defense down would help other mons on your team, but at that point it's like, why would I bring defense down if I could literally bring something else that does defense down immediately and not have to worry about his ultimate skill? So in my opinion, this isn't very effective. I'm not saying that it's useless. I just think for what it costs, especially for you getting the trinkets for Arthur, that it could be better, but only time will tell on my hot take in terms of Wood Arthur's ultimate skill. But with books, we can see over here that his HP Siphon gets a 25% damage boost, and then his stun receives a 15% damage boost, and it goes up to 80% for 3 turns, which, once again, pretty potent as Nat 5 books. Obviously, you would honestly probably want that to kind of roll more into the 5-star skill, but with HP Siphon scaling off of his damage dealt, that obviously makes HP Siphon more potent. So, not a bad Ashramon. I just felt like the Ultimate Evolution helped him in a way, but not as helpful in other situations, you know, if you have limited amount of trinkets to assign to your Arthur. So, you know, it is what it is. Alright, and then coming in next, you guys, we have Light Arthur, who's an attacker type. He's coming in with 32k HP, 4.3k attack, and then 3k defense. Pretty much the same as Fire and Wood Arthur, and I have no complaints about this whatsoever. None. Let's take a look at his skills though. So for his 3-star skill, he has Shock, which grants a 100% chance to stun an enemy for 1 turn. And then for his 5-star skill, he has Hunter, which increases critical hit damage by 50%. With him being a light mon as well, he obviously has that built-in added, easier access to hitting 100% crit rate. So there's really no excuse as to why your Light Arthur isn't making sure that Hunter goes off. Because in case you guys don't know, or in case that you're a newer player, if a mon is crit dependent, or they have a move that says it increases critical hit damage by X%, if that mon doesn't crit when they do that move, it's wasted. Congratulations, it no longer exists. So keep that in mind when you're building your Ashramon. But obviously Shock is purely crowd control. You do get some added damage from it. It acts similar to defense down, but not as potent as defense down, but it's purely crowd control. And then for his 5-star skill, it's full on DPS. And with that 4.3k attack stat and hopefully some good crit rate on him, he should be hitting quite well. And then we can see over here with his ultimate skill, he has Puncture, which upon using a super skill applies a self buff that ignores 70% of the enemy's base attack. So think of Draka and all the other mons out there with Puncture nowadays, but add it to Light Arthur with his 4.3k attack stat. That's going to be crazy. He does extremely nasty amounts of damage, especially if he gets SP regenerated once he does an ultimate skill and it goes into his 5-star skill and you just puncture everyone. I'm not sure if it's Puncture and Hunter. It may be, but I think it's just raw Puncture. But still, even at 70%, even though it isn't technically high, I think it's high enough in this situation, and it's just absolute nuke. Hands down, honestly, I'm going to tell you guys straight up, I think this is the best ultimate evolution for Arthur. I honestly think it's the best. Like, it's super duper good. It makes my light Arthur go from, like, you know, neutral face gaming to straight up smiley face gaming. Just the power that he packs once he gets his move off. But let's take a look at his skills real quick. So Shock receives a 20% damage boost, and it goes to 100% for 2 turns, which is nice. And then Hunter gets a 30% damage increase, which once again, it's okay. I mean, if I'd had books for my light Arthurs, I would definitely try and have that roll into Shock, even though I don't have any control over it. But either one's fine at the end of the day. So I do think skill books are worth it for him. And I mean, just the ultimate evolution, dude. Just that puncture just brought like light Arthur to a whole different level. Because before, he was fine, especially with his ability to do crowd control and damage. But now, where he has some crowd control and a whole bunch of damage, he's definitely high on my ultimate evolution list for sure. And alright, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and bring this home here. We have Dark Arthur, who's a tank type. He's coming in with, I'm just gonna say 55k HP. 2.1k attack, and then 2.9k defense, nearly 3k defense. So stat wise, plenty of HP. I think he, at this point in time with his ultimate evolution, has the highest base HP in the game until other mons get ultimate evolutions, and his defense stat isn't anything to scoff at either. Let's go and take a look at his skills though. So for his 3-star skill, he has HP aggression, which means his own attack power becomes proportional to his own max HP. And then for his 5-star skill, he has Sap, which is 3 turns, well 3 times Sap that lasts for 2 turns. So very, very potent Sap once that gets off. And what you guys should be thinking right here is, okay, so he has aggression and Sap. Honestly, not my favorite combo. Smart Study does not like to make Dark Arthur useful. They can either go 2 ways. They can make him a straight up sapper, or they can make him a straight up HP aggressor, but they're like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. We're just going to keep him the way that he is for whatever reason. But his sap is fine in his own regard, and with his HP being super duper high, his HP aggression obviously is pretty good as well. So as an HP aggressor, obviously it reads here that his main stat is HP. So if I do an account review and I see that you're running something on your Dark Arthur that isn't crit rate HP or triple HP, which is my personal preference, congratulations, you played yourself, because his 3-star skill is now useless. This Ashimon sitting here with 55k HP that you refuse to give him any HP on is going to hit like he is a Evo 1 level 1 Mushi, because you don't know how to read. So just FYI. And then over here though, for his ultimate skill, he has Light Stalker, which increases his critical hit rate by 25% when attacking like Ashimon.
That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's the way that I feel too. They had a chance, in my opinion, to kind of tweak Dark Arthur and make him as good as a Light, if not better with his ultimate skill, but we get Light Stalker. I understand the counter argument of having your Dark Arthur face Light Mons and him being more of a tank type towards those Light Mons because of his excessive amount of HP. But considering, even though that they gave us Arthur trinkets for free, if you consider the fact that, say for instance, they didn't give it to us for free and you pulled Arthur trinkets and unfortunately you only had Dark Arthur laying around, would I use my trinkets on Dark Arthur to get him to his ultimate evolution for this skill? Absolutely not. I mean, he does get that 10% damage increase or 10% overall increase in his stats, but is it enough warranting giving him that trinket set to get Light Stalker as my ultimate skill? No. Because if I'm not fighting a Mon, if I'm fighting a Mon that's not light, congratulations. His ultimate skill, useless. Does nothing for you. What is that going to do? At least in every other situation, especially for Fire Arthur, where water is his weakness and players may use water mons to use against Fire Arthur to take him down quickly, there's some use there. At least with water, and at least for all the all of the other elements, regardless if you take fire into account or not, this is universal if it's applied or not. This is specific for one Astromon and one Astromon only, which is just absolutely just, it's not my favorite. I mean, I can't ignore his stat increase, but I'm also not going to say that I'm a big fan of this either, because going through the process of pulling out these trinkets and getting this, I'm just going to put it on a Merlin. I'm just going to raise my Titan damage because I'm not hating on Dark Arthur. I just think that he could have been set up a little bit better on that. But let me stop rambling about that and let's take a look at books real quick. So HP Aggression gets a 30% damage increase, and then his sap receives a 25% damage increase, and it goes to, I believe, 100% for 3 times sap for 2 turns. So not bad. I mean, I wouldn't book him up though. I mean, I have a Dark Arthur on my Casualty account, so I'm not hating on him just to hate on him. I just find it kind of a slap in the face, especially as a Dark Contract Mon, that they just keep shafting this dude, unfortunately, and it's very, very sad because Dark Arthur looks awesome. But if I had to give a whole rating for the Ultimate Evolution skills, I would say that Light Arthur, without a doubt, is going to be number 1 in terms of the Ultimate Evolution skills. After that is going to be Fire Arthur, and then it's really up to you to decide after that, but I would say that Water Arthur is going to be 3rd, followed by Wood Arthur, and then Dark Arthur's kind of in between both of those guys, just from my own opinion, because the stat increase is good, especially as an HP aggressor for Dark Arthur. It's just that Light Stalker, if I don't bring a Light Mine to fight him, congratulations, his ultimate skill is nullified. Yes, he does get his stat boost, but once again, part of what makes him appealing or part of what makes him exciting is literally rendered useless. But this is one man's take on it. As more information comes out for the other contract mons, hopefully in the future for their Ultimate Evolutions, I will update the videos as we go along with that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.